Hey everyone, welcome back. We're continuing on with A Course in Miracles, and today we're taking a look at Lesson 36.
Yeah, this one follows really nicely from the last lesson, Lesson 35.
Which, if you remember, was all about the holiness of the perceiver, right?
Exactly.
And now, Lesson 36 is kind of taking that idea and expanding it outward to include everything that you see.
That's right. So instead of just thinking about our own holiness, we're now going to be looking at the holiness of everything around us.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Lesson 36 says, and I'll read it verbatim here,
Sounds good.
"My holiness envelops everything I see." Today's idea extends the idea for yesterday from the perceiver to the perceived. You are holy because your mind is part of God's, and because you are holy, your sight must be holy as well. Sinless means without sin. You cannot be without sin a little, you are sinless or not. If your mind is part of God's eyes, you must be sinless, or a part of His mind would be sinful. Your sight is related to His holiness, not to your ego, and therefore not to your body. So there's a lot to unpack there. But one of the things that I really get stuck on is that first line. My holiness envelops everything I see. Because, it's one thing to say, okay, I'm holy, my mind is part of God's mind, but to then look around at, I don't know, like the dishes piled up in the sink.
Right.
Or, to think about like a particularly difficult interaction I had with my child earlier and to try to see those things as holy.
Yeah, it's a real challenge.
It feels like a real stretch sometimes.
I think that's really common. And it's important to remember what A Course in Miracles is actually saying about holiness here.
Okay, so what is it saying?
It's not about, moral perfection.
Right.
Or like everything being shiny and happy all the time.
No, yeah, that's definitely not my life.
Holiness in this context is really about recognizing the divine nature that exists in everything.
So it's more about a shift in our perception.
Exactly. It's about seeing past the surface level, the messiness, the frustration, and recognizing that spark of God that's present in every single thing.
Even in a pile of dirty laundry.
Even in a pile of dirty laundry.
Okay, I like that.
Right.
So how do we actually do this? Because the lesson talks about some specific practices.
Yes, it does. So one of the things it suggests is setting aside 3 to 5 minute periods throughout the day where you can really focus on this idea.
So what would that look like?
So you would close your eyes and repeat that phrase to yourself, my holiness envelops everything I see.
Okay.
And then you would open your eyes and consciously try to apply that idea to whatever is in your field of vision.
So, I could look at my hand.
You could look at your hand, you could look at a tree outside the window, a lamp in the room.
Dog sleeping on the floor.
Anything.
Okay, and just try to see that holiness there.
Right, and it's also encouraging you to do this throughout the day in shorter bursts as well. So, you're waiting in line at the grocery store, you're folding laundry.
Stuck in traffic.
Stuck in traffic, exactly. Just pause for a moment and remind yourself, my holiness envelops everything I see.
To be totally honest, I really struggled with this when I first started trying it.
Yeah.
Because it just felt so weird. To look at something like, I don't know, my phone, for example.
Yeah.
And try to see it as holy. My mind just wanted to be like, that's a phone. It's not holy. It's just a phone.
I think that's a very normal reaction.
Yeah.
We're so used to labeling things, good, bad, holy, unholy, that it takes a while to break out of that habit.
And to see things in this new way.
Exactly.
So just to kind of recap here, Lesson 36 is essentially teaching us that everything we see is holy. Because our sight, our ability to see, is an extension of our own mind.
Yes.
And our mind is part of God's mind.
Right. So if our mind is holy, then our sight must be holy too.
And that means that everything we see, even the stuff that seems totally ordinary or even unpleasant, is also holy.
Exactly. It's all part of this one unified creation.
Okay, so as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a question to think about. If you were to really start practicing this idea of holy sight, seeing the holiness in everything, how do you think that would change your experience of the world?
Yeah.
Would it change how you interact with people?
Would it change how you react to situations?
Would it change how you see yourself?
It's something to really consider as you go about your day.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
I woke up to a